This is Regan LaFontaine coming to you from the campus of Trinity-Pawling School. We wish that you could be with us here today, but in lieu of that, we have our Reunion Reimagined program, and we thought we'd bring some of the school to you in the comfort of wherever you may be right now. So for this State of the School, we are very lucky to have Headmaster Bill Taylor, Board President Erik Olstein, who was also class of '86, and parent to Kevin, class of 14. I'm doing this in the wrong order. Ryan, class of 11, Kevin, class of 14, and Hunter, class of 17. And then we have our Director of Athletics, Brian Foster, class of 79. So we're hoping to give you a thorough update of what's happening on campus and how we even open, which we feel really great about. And we want to talk about how in this time of uncertainty, we're able to deliver on our mission of educating boys for an ever-changing world. So with that, you may ask questions in the question and answer section during the program if you'd like, and we will try our best to get to all of those. But without further ado, I will pass it on to Headmaster Taylor. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome everybody. Thank you for taking time to be a part of this Reunion Reimagined, and to spend some time hearing about the state of the school. Very simply, the state of the school is open, and that's a simple word to say. It not necessarily was simply accomplished, but lots of hard work by many people have led to that one-word response to the state of the school. There's obviously more to that, and I'll touch a little bit about that, as will Erik. But we couldn't be happier with the succinctness of that one response, that we are open. We are completing our 4th week of classes. And our 5th week of having the boys on campus. As Regan said, the school's mission is to educate and instill a value system that prepares young men to be contributing members in society amidst the challenges of an ever-changing world. And I certainly can't think of a greater time, a more appropriate time, a greater opportunity to test the strength of that mission than where we are right now. This world for these young men has changed dramatically, as it has for all of us. And to really sort of exercise the opportunity that we have to make sure that the values of the school, hard work, perseverance, positive attitude, and so forth, really are there to prepare them and to guide them on how to navigate these turbulent waters of these changes. And we feel very good about that, and very, very good about the relevance of this mission and its timeliness and its depth for the challenges that we are facing on a day-to-day basis this year. We essentially made the decision to delay our opening from spring break last year. From that point of announcing we were going to come back in April to the point of saying that we were going to forego the rest of the spring term, that decision was made, that those two decisions were made in the span of several days. So things, obviously, as you recall, were moving so rapidly last March, and we were able to deliver a very strong product of remote learning last spring. But with every day of that delivery, we were reminded that this is not how it's done best, and that learning happens best when it happens in community. And so very early on during the spring, we started beginning to plan for what the return might be. and how would we be able to do this? How could we get boys safely back, faculty safely back, and to do this in person? And that, of course, a lot of those factors are well beyond our control, and a lot of those factors ended up lining up in favorable ways as the summer progressed, including a steady decline in this area of the country of the viral infections, and so we were able to benefit from that. As I've said before, our overall reopening plan sought to leverage some inherent strengths of the school, namely the fact that we are in a relatively remote area, that we are a boarding school, and we have a number of dormitories that are not in big buildings, and that was an incredible strength because we could create smaller dorm units. We have close to 250 acres for a student or a campus population of under 400. So the ratio of people to space was very much in our favor. And then a lot of people worked very, very hard to create detailed, granularly detailed plans impacting all the different dynamics of what it takes to operate a school. So literally measuring every square foot of each dormitory room, each classroom, every space, figuring out how many people we could put in a room or a place like the dining hall to ensure that the density levels where they needed to be, and so forth. The net result of all that hard work this summer was the fact that we were able to reopen, and it also was the result of some significant capital investments that the school made with monies that we did not budget for. I will say quite honestly, when we did our budget for this fiscal year, this school year, it was last December, and nobody had this on the horizon. So we had to invest over the summer in various different forms of technology, cameras that would capture 360 degrees in a classroom, new computers in classrooms. We had to invest in all sorts of different sanitizing equipment. We invested in outdoor furniture, even things that one would not think of as an emerging priority, like stocking the pond with fish. That actually becomes a priority because you want to get kids outside, and so kids are fishing as they've always done. The big difference is now they're catching fish, whereas in past years that was sometimes a bit of an elusive challenge. And we have a disc golf course on campus now, getting kids outside. We've got hiking and biking trails that are then put in place in our acreage, especially the new acreage that we purchased 2 years ago to the east of the campus. And many of you on this call, I know, have been very generous in your giving to the school, and we're grateful for that. And I can say that gratitude is all the more magnified by the fact of our need is all the more magnified. And so thank you for that. And that need continues. So if you're able, please continue to help us meet those needs. Part of our plan includes a very robust testing strategy. So we have currently conducted almost 700 tests and tracked that many tests. So we're testing 20% of our residential not the residential population, the school population, so day students and so forth, every week. And that gives us a week-to-week baseline. We've got a very specific plan in place if someone does test positive. So far, we've had no positive cases here on campus, and that's obviously been well received. Some wonderful revelations through these past 4 to 5 weeks have been the tremendous commitment and dedication on the part of the boys, the students. When they started to come back, literally 5 weeks ago today was our first wave of students coming back. When they first started to return, it was clear that they really wanted to be here. They understood what was going to be required of them, and so for the most part, and the vast majority of the most part, the boys have been very cooperative with the plan to wear masks, even when they're outside. The distancing issue is always going to be a challenge, keeping kids with the necessary distance. But when even outside, when they tend to sort of sometimes gather together, they're wearing masks, and so that's better. But that's been great. Their attitudes have been really positive. We had this wonderful Olympics or outdoor Olympic type activity last Saturday that Brian Foster and others organized, and the attitude of the students was just extraordinary, and lots of fun. And we're going to do it again this weekend. And the boys are doing more outside. I was on an earlier call with one of the prefects, and we were talking about one of the silver linings that they've had. And he said, as much as I miss having, the meals in the dining hall and with a bunch of people, one of the things I've begun doing is taking my meal to go at dinner time and going up and sitting on the new Adirondack chairs that are located around campus, and a bunch of them out by the flagpole overlooking those western hillsides. And he says, every night I take my dinner up there and I watch the sunset. And I've never really appreciated the sunsets here as much as I've done in the last couple of weeks. So, that's a real small snippet of how the boys are really embracing this and looking for positive opportunities amidst massive changes. We all know that learning happens best when it happens in community. And this is true of all learning. It's particularly true of learning here at Trinity-Pawling, where the relationships and the student-centered aspect of this teaching and learning environment is so critical to our success. And the faculty, I can't say enough about how they have sort of dug in. They've embraced new opportunities for learning, and they've been doing that for the past several years as we've transitioned to a more project-based learning approach to our curriculum. So they've been nimble, and they've exercised that adaptability even before COVID hit. And so they had a lot of tools in their tool chest through their own professional growth and development over these past several years, that when were hit with this challenge, they've adapted. We've had some stumbles with some of our infrastructure technology-wise, not because of any bandwidth or issues. It's actually the demand has exposed some I guess flaws in how the network was created 20 years ago that weren't flaws, but now they are emerging as flaws because of the demand on them. So we're having to go back and rebuild or redirect some of those original connectivity issues, sort of like repairing the airplane while it's in the air. And the faculty and the students have been very cooperative, understanding with that, and a dynamic team of technology people. So it's been a positive exercise of this plan. I know there was a question that came forth prior to today's session about the success of last year's college acceptance rate for the class of 2020. And it's a great question. Most of those decisions were probably made before the virus hit, although some did not. Some happened during the spring. But the students in the class of 2020 fared very well with their college acceptances. And I think that class is sort of undergoing the challenges that many of college students, most colleges, are facing right now. Some of them are enrolled in colleges and universities that are fully remote. Some are enrolled in places that are hybrid. Some are actually there in person. So that's a challenge, I'm sure, for them. Pertaining to this graduating class, this class probably is, this is the class that the whole year is going to be impacted, plus the spring of their junior year. So it's a significant disruption for the class of 2021. There was an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal about a week ago about how the demands on schools, secondary schools, to find ways to showcase their seniors to colleges and universities who are looking for identifiable differentiators in their applicants when they cannot rely on standardized testing. And standardized testing has become more optional, but now it's become far more difficult in many cases to even do this, as many testing centers are not even offering tests. So it's a real challenge for the college and university admissions offices to be able to discern and to parse out the strengths of their applicant pool when you can't just solely look at grades. And here I think we're in a real interesting advantage. And we're now in our 5th year of this practicum for civic leadership, which is the vehicle that we through which we funnel all our project-based learning curriculum, but more broadly, our curricular goals that are designed to reflect the emerging self-awareness of our students and reveal their interests, their passions, their goals, as illustrated through the projects that they choose to complete. And in the case of seniors, the projects that they choose to complete independently. And that has become a fabulous way for our college admissions office to showcase the specific student-centered strengths of each of our seniors, each of our students. At the request of college admissions office several years ago, we include all of that information on our transcript. So for colleges looking at our applicants, at their applicants from Trinity-Pawling, they are seeing very detailed student-centered illustrations of achievement, of creativity, of 21st century learning skills, of independent work, which is critical for college. And they're seeing that all capsulated in the package that we're sending to them. So it was a wonderful response to the Wall Street Journal question of what are schools doing to help differentiate their seniors for the admissions offices at these colleges and universities. I feel very strongly about that. So that's sort of a broad overview of where things are. Erik, I'd love to transition to you and talk about how the board has responded, which is just, from my perspective, I'm so grateful for the board's response and support and leadership to everything that's been changing so quickly, and certainly to your leadership, Erik. So I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Bill, and welcome everyone. First, I just want to recognize it is a special day today as we honor John Pettit, class of 70, and recognize and honor Joe Rice, class of 50, and my dear good friend Terry Ray from class of 55. So it's also just a day of continued tradition of honoring our alumni on this homecoming weekend. Bill makes it sound, looking back, the decisions made and the stress that he's not talking about is really a true testament to Bill's leadership, and especially to administrators and the faculty. I mean, while we're all during quarantine at home and worried about our families and loved ones, we can all be proud that Trinity-Pawling came together and rallied together, one, to go online and not just create education, but as Bill mentioned, a community. You may not know that the chapel was conducted via online in the spring. Clubs were conducted online. Team meetings were conducted online, worldwide, not just on campus, but globally. And the faculty and Bill and his team worked extremely hard this summer, coming up with a robust plan. If you have not seen that plan, I encourage you to go online and look at that plan that enabled Trinity-Pawling to bring our students back to campus. By no means are we where we want to be. We still have students that are working remotely. The board has fully supported Bill and the faculty's efforts to making that happen, but we're going to do so safely and with a solid plan. I would say that probably what really helped Trinity-Pawling the most is really its traditions. Facing this crisis, it was that tradition of community, of maintaining that community. I remember when I was co-chair of the search committee, I had called Phil Smith and asked him, what are some of the attributes you're looking for in a headmaster? And it came into look for someone who trusts their faculty. And the faculty just did an extremely well done job above and beyond to just teaching in the classroom. And on behalf of the board, we are just so proud of them. As an alum, as a past parent, I am just so proud of our faculty. It really makes a difference in our Trinity-Pawling education. There's a lot more to be learned, but I think as we go forward, the base is there. Our ability to deal with crisis, Trinity-Pawling is for an education compared to public schools right now, where you're far ahead of most of the public schools. And I would argue, being an alum and being proud, we're probably far ahead of most of our competitors in how we're conducting the school year. So as alums, we should all be proud of that. The school is not really where we want it to be. I mentioned that. And there's ways alumni can help. Obviously, we need to build that endowment. It's the endowment that enabled us to continue with a lower student head count at the beginning of this year, but a larger endowment helps us to continue that to face the next crisis. And I cannot emphasize that enough. It is really the first place on the business side we went to go look at to see what it was going to need to support to get this school year opening. And the other, besides just money, everyone here has a nephew or a grandchild or son that could probably benefit from a Trinity-Pawling education. We should all be bragging about our school. And I use the word brag because I'm extremely proud. Sending boys and their families to come look at our school and understand that the depth of the education that we're all so proud of being a part of. So it's not just building endowment, it's also building the word of Trinity-Pawling, that we can go forward. Having a full school is as important as a large endowment. So your contribution may also be just by sending us students to come and look at the school and bragging about the education we all have. We should all be proud as alum for what was accomplished. Bill and the faculty, again, we should thank you very much for everything you've done. For those of you, by the way, who were able to tune into the prefects today, they were absolutely wonderful. I mean, I'm not very an emotional person, but it brought tears to my eyes just hearing these young men speak so positively and so optimistically about their future, the school's future, and we should also be proud of that. So congratulations to the prefects earlier today, and thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for mentioning endowment. I said to somebody last week that it's the differentiator. There are schools that did not have the endowment that we did that are teetering right now, facing existential decisions. And, at the end of the day, all boarding schools have to understand that we can face existential situations. And this is one of them. This is a crisis that impacts people's finances and impacts, people's ability to travel. It impacts people's confidence. And so we feel very good about the plan where we are. But we all, I'm very grateful that the endowment was where it was when this hit. But it also underscores the fact that it needs to be a lot larger. And that certainly is, if that wasn't a takeaway for me before the virus, it certainly is a grand takeaway, for me after the virus. And I know it is for the board. I mean, this is how we safeguard the school's future. And that was a nice phrase before the coronavirus, but we're living right now safeguarding the school's future.
Bill, I'll add that when I was on the long range planning committee, the endowment was somewhere just shy of 30 million. And we set a goal of getting the endowment up to 50 million. We didn't foresee the crisis. We didn't foresee the demands of the school and the importance of getting that endowment to where it is. But understand the importance of endowment definitely helped us weather the storm for the school during this crisis in the spring. I mean, it's beyond just being able to open the school, it's giving you the boost and the confidence in the midst of a crisis to know you can make that decision to open the doors and get the kids back to school in the fall. And so sometimes the endowment is not just something you foresee the crisis, but it definitely gives you the opportunity when you have that to withstand any crisis the school faces. So again, you're absolutely right.
One of the challenges of reopening that we recognized early on and last spring is, if we were going to reopen, what would certain things that we sort of take for granted, like our ability to gather in the dining hall all together. We knew that was going to change. Our ability for the boys to go from dorm to dorm, we knew that was going to have to change. But we also, realized that athletics was going to have to change. And beginning in the spring, I met weekly, through remotely, but we met weekly with the other heads of the Founders League schools. Not so much to plan, although that was part of it. A lot of it was just to commiserate and to learn from one another and to collaborate. And I know Brian did something very similar with the athletic directors of the Founders League. And one of the results of all that working and talking and building, essentially on the trust that we have through those relationships, was a decision that we made in mid-July that we were not going to pursue competitive interscholastic competition in the fall term of this year. We were the first league that I believe, certainly in New England, that really came out and made that decision. We made it actually a day, I think, after the Ivy League may have made their decision. And so that really threw a challenge to Brian and the other athletic directors, the coaches of each of our schools, that how are we going to create an athletic program that we know is so incredibly important for our students, for their physical well-being, but also for what they love to do. How are we going to create something that's met their needs? And Brian and the coaches here have, they started working in the spring, they worked throughout the summer, and they've created a wonderful plan for the fall. It's not what we thought we'd be doing, but it's creative and adaptive. So Brian, before we sort of transition into the Athletic Hall of Fame, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what athletics are looking like this fall.
Thank you, Bill, and welcome everyone. I'm sorry we can't be playing games, and you can't be here and to see some games. We really miss that. But as Bill said, in July we were told, or we decided, that there would not be contests between our schools. And NEPSAC, who runs all of our schools athletically, had made a decision on a vote that we could, our coaches could coach out of season. So we needed to try to figure out how that would look at Trinity-Pawling. Some schools decided that every boy can play whatever sport the school offers all during the fall. We didn't think that was really going to work at Trinity-Pawling. So what we have in place right now is on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the boys play their fall sports. And what's happened with that is that some boys who wouldn't normally play, say, football because they're lacrosse or hockey or basketball players, are out there with the football team, working out, learning a little bit about football, maybe getting a little better athletically, and which is going to help their sport, whatever they consider that, later on, hopefully in the year. We created one of our assistant coaches, Chris Gilman, offered, and we took him up on his offer. He is our strength and conditioning coach. We figured out our weight room. You know, Bill talked about all the measuring and everything. We figured our weight room could fit about 12 kids at a time. So we've created a program and a schedule where different teams and students can get into the weight room and work with Chris. In the evenings and in the afternoons, the boys have to sign up for specific times. Unfortunately, they can't go down to the beautiful field house and just take shots at the basketball court. We allow 3 people at a basket at a time. They have to wash the basketball off with, you know, some disinfectant. There's a lot of cleaning that goes on. After every weight room use, we disinfect the room for a few minutes. Hopefully, it seems like it's working anyway. But then again, on Thursday and Friday, the students can kind of choose whatever we offer. And we're offering the 10 sports that we normally offer. So boys are on the ice, boys are playing lacrosse. The weather's been incredible. We've been on the baseball field. We have some golf, some boys going to lower fields, hitting golf balls around. We've been utilizing what Bill was talking about with the disc golf, and we bought 20 tennis rackets. So maybe somebody loves tennis but hasn't played very much. So we have kids everywhere, but they're outside, and unfortunately the weather's been so nice that it's been hard to get the rink going, but we're going to be up this weekend. But the flip side is everybody's outside all the time. And the kids, you know, I think the football boys especially are a little disappointed they're not playing football. But I think making the decision in July helped them. You know, it was tough in the spring because it came so quickly. So the lacrosse and baseball players and track guys and golf guys and tennis players, they were, I think, a little more disappointed. The football players have had time to adjust. And our football coaches have been incredibly creative, and soccer and cross country also. Incredibly creative, trying to come up with ways to have some competition, but not actually play our games that we like to play. So it's been hard for the coaches. We have, you know, almost everybody who teaches here is out coaching at some point during the week, just trying to keep all the kids busy, which is just another thing on every faculty member's plate. But everybody's working towards keeping us here and keeping us safe, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, and thank you for your leadership and all this. I know it's, you know, Brian makes it sound easy. It's been a lot of work. So we appreciate that.
You're welcome. So it's my privilege to announce that John Pettit, a member of the class of 1970, is our single inductee into the Trinity-Pawling Athletic Hall of Fame this year. John was an outstanding athlete at TP. He earned 9 varsity letters in football, hockey, and lacrosse. In addition to making all New England honors in lacrosse, John captained the football team his senior year as a fullback and middle linebacker. He was a high scorer in lacrosse his senior year, directing the attack. Junior year, John was a standout on the 1969 Hall of Fame team, racking up an undefeated record. He also played varsity at different times with both his brothers, Bill, class of 67, and Don, class of 72. John was a stalwart wing on the hockey team, even playing as a freshman. He won the Fathers Association Award several times and remains one of the best players to ever grace TP's fields and ice. John went on to Princeton, where he was a 3-year varsity starter after leading the team in the required freshman competition. He was a frequent All-Ivy winner and held the Princeton all-time scoring title for 3 years after his graduation. John was a team leader and was recognized with a selection to the North-South game his senior year. In addition to his athletic talent, John was a prefect, the class valedictorian, a good brother, and a friend to all who knew him. Never before have I received so many letters of support for his nomination. John passed away in August of 2013 and is being inducted into Trinity-Pawling's Athletic Hall of Fame posthumously. We look forward to formally inducting and celebrating John Pettit, class of 70, in person on campus fall of 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brian. And I'd like to sort of transition and talk about our Distinguished Alumni Award winners for 2020. And we have two of them this year. And our first Distinguished Alumni Award winner is Joseph L. Rice III, class of 1950. Joe spent 2 years at Trinity-Pawling. And in those 2 years, he played varsity football, varsity track, varsity basketball, and varsity hockey. He was a member of the 1949 varsity football team that was inducted into the Trinity-Pawling Hall of Fame in 2006. In addition to sports, Joe participated in the debating club, the Times, and was the sports editor of the yearbook. From Trinity-Pawling, he went on to attend Williams College, where he received his Bachelor's of Arts in 1954. From there, he was a lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, and he earned his JD from Harvard in 1960. Joe began his career with the law firm Sullivan and Cromwell in New York City. He turned to investment banking, though, and served as vice president at Laird Incorporated in New York and with McDonald and Company. Joe founded Clayton, Dubliner, and Rice in 1978, along with Martin Dubliner and Eugene Clayton. He is the recipient of numerous volunteer recognitions. He is a trustee emeritus at Williams College. He's a member of the Council of Foreign Relations and the Brookings Institute. He's a member of Uniroyal Holding Incorporated. He's the co-founder of the Private Capital Research Institute. He served as the executive in residence at the Columbia Business School, and he was on the board of directors of the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation. At Trinity-Pawling, Joe has been a loyal donor since 1979, and we're just thrilled to honor a distinguished career, certainly at Trinity-Pawling, but after Trinity-Pawling. Want to thank him for his generosity and loyalty to his alma mater, and to honor him with Trinity-Pawling's Distinguished Service Award. Thank you, Joe, and thank you for all that you've done. Our second award recipient is Alton Terry W. Ray, class of 1955. Terry started at Trinity-Pawling in the fall of 1951. He lettered in varsity football, varsity hockey, and varsity track during his 4 years. He participated in the Spanish Club, the Acolytes Club, the Camera Club, the Dance Committee, the Glee Club, newspaper, the yearbook, where he was the editor of the 1955 Trinitanis, and he was also the secretary of the Drama Club. Following Trinity-Pawling, Terry earned his degree from the University of Michigan. He entered the oil business in 1968 on the onshore and offshore construction end, building pipelines and drilling platforms. West Africa was his base, with stints in the Far East, South America, the Middle East, and Northern Europe. Terry started his own company, Operatech, in 1996, providing local support services to the oil and gas community in Angola, and currently serves as its director. Terry has served Trinity-Pawling as a member of our board of trustees since 1998. He serves on the advancement, marketing, and trustee committees. He was the executive Centennial Campaign Committee chair and the co-chair of the Terrell Hockey Rink Renovation Committee. And he was also the member of the 2000-2001 Parent Fund Committee. His son Sean was a member of the class of 2001. Terry and his wife Debbie have been loyal Trinity-Pawling donors for more than 30 years. Together, they have sponsored several boys who needed financial assistance to attend our school. And as I mentioned, Sean, their son, is a graduate of the class of 2001. We thank Terry for his profound and significant service to our community and honor him with the school's Distinguished Alumni Award. So thank you to both Joe and Terry for your wonderful years of service to the school. We couldn't be more proud to honor you with this recognition. And we certainly look forward to being able to do so in person when we can be back on this campus, hopefully in the fall of 2021.
And I just want to share, while we were, a message came in from Kate Pettit, going back to the induction of John Pettit in the Athletic Hall of Fame. We will also induct John officially into the Athletic Hall of Fame when we come together next fall. But here's a wonderful message from Kate that she sent in. Kate, thanks for being on this call. And I think John's brother Don is on here too. And I have to share as well that I was trying to show a picture of your father, John, which was on my computer screen, but I don't think it reached your computer screens, but we will be sure to share that with you. But Kate Pettit says, my father, John, would be so grateful for this recognition. As Dad always said, we love prizes. He attended every single game of my senior year at Stanford water polo, and he was an inspiration as an athlete and as a parent. He is missed by our family every day, and his daughters and someday his grandchildren will carry on his athletic success. Thanks for sharing that, Kate. And we're so honored to be able to induct your dad. We've heard so many wonderful stories about his athletic prowess, and I think we've never had so many letters of recognition come in for an induction.
And we look forward to having the whole Pettit family back here to share in that wonderful celebration when we can. And congratulations.
That's right. And next fall, we'll also have Terry and Joe back. And we hope that you also, as part of our reunion reimagine, might be able to join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. when we gather for our virtual alumni memorial service, where we'll recognize those we've lost since our last service last fall. So if you have not yet signed up, there is a link on our reunion webpage. Please go there and join the Reunion Reimagine virtual alumni memorial service. So we thank you for being here. If you have any additional questions, at another date, we will try and keep you as informed as we can throughout the year about everything going on here on campus. But there's a lot happening and we're excited about it. Thank you for joining.
If I could just add, I know that I've gotten several communications from alumni over the past several months, and they always come with sort of an apology. I'm so sorry to be reaching out, and I know you're busy. Please, I want to hear from you. If you have questions of how things are going, this is your school, and I want to be able to give you as much information as I can. So please never hesitate to reach out to me, and never think that you're interfering. And you are a valuable part of this community and a valuable part of how we're navigating this bridge to the other side. So we thank you for your engagement.
Thank you. Go Pride.
Yes, indeed.